After my miscarriage, my mother-in-law told me to try harder next time. My sister-in-law said I must have done something wrong. My husband said they didn't mean it. So I stopped meaning it when I smiled at them. By spring, I had stopped seeing Mark as my husband. He still slept next to me, still kissed me goodbye before work. But it all felt like a routine I was keeping up for appearance's sake. I wasn't in the marriage anymore. I was observing it, collecting data. He didn't notice. Or maybe he didn't want to. When I suggested we try couples counseling, just to see if we could process the loss together, he rolled his eyes and said, "What's the point? It happened. We can't fix it." I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just nodded. That weekend, Diane invited us to a barbecue at her house. I went, but only because I'd found something interesting on her laptop weeks earlier while she was in the kitchen making tea. She'd left her Outlook tab open, and in it was a string of emails with her accountant about how to keep the rental income clean. One email even mentioned her using her daughter-in-law's address to register something, my address. My name. She never asked, never told me. She was using me, quietly, for something shady. Probably to throw off a paper trail. So I started watching her mail. Nothing obvious, but a few things addressed to someone named Diane Jensen showed up at our house. Her name is Diane Marks. Jensen was her maiden name. I scanned them. One was from a property insurance company. Another from a tax advisor. I copied everything. At the barbecue, Natalie was already tipsy by 3 p.m. and started telling people a story about a woman at her job who lost her baby and couldn't handle it. She looked directly at me and smirked when she said, "Some women just don't have the maternal gene." I walked inside and sat in the bathroom for 10 minutes. My hands were shaking, but not from sadness. From rage. I looked at myself in the mirror and said out loud, "You'll pay for this. All of you." By summer, Mark had started staying late at work more often. I didn't ask questions. I didn't need to. I saw the texts. I found them one night when he left his phone on the coffee table and went to take a shower. A woman named Allie. I didn't recognize the number, but I didn't need to. The messages said enough. "Allie, wish I could stay overnight. Still thinking about the other night in your office. Mark, you'd better. My wife's been dead behind the eyes for months." He wasn't wrong. I had died a little. But he didn't understand that I wasn't gone. I was evolving. I didn't confront him. I didn't throw his phone or scream or cry. I just took screenshots. Sent them to my second email. Started learning about Allie. Her real name, her job, admin at his firm, her married boyfriend. Yes. She was cheating too. And the guy she was cheating on? A junior partner at the same law firm. Now I had them both. I started feeding tips to an anonymous HR email the law firm had. I used burner emails. One tip at a time. Each one with a little more detail. I also pulled the trigger on Diane. I filed an anonymous tax fraud tip with the IRS, complete with attachments. I mailed copies of the documents she registered under my address, using gloves. I didn't want fingerprints tying anything to me. As for Natalie, I knew her Etsy scam would only take one push to crumble. So I placed a large order under a fake name. Then reported the items with proof they were counterfeit. Etsy froze her store. Within a week, she was ranting online about jealous customers and haters. I just watched. They were all so busy blaming everyone else, they never stopped to look at me. They thought I was still broken. But I was building something bigger than grief. And I wasn't done yet. I didn't plan for the letter from the IRS to show up at her house. It came one Tuesday morning, addressed to Diane Marks but sent to my address. I froze when I saw it. It was stamped urgent, taxpayer notification. I knew what it was. A follow-up to the anonymous report I filed months ago. She must have used my address as a safe zone. But now the IRS was tracing it back. I didn't open it. Just slid it into a manila folder, walked upstairs, and tucked it in the back of the closet behind old winter sweaters. I didn't want it to disappear, just wanted to hold on to it until the timing was right. But that's when I realized something. They weren't just toxic. They were careless. Reckless enough to use me for their lies. then blame me for my loss. Around that same time, something shifted at Mark's law firm. He started coming home tense, short-tempered. Not because of me. He barely spoke to me anymore, but because his world was starting to crack, and he didn't know why. "I think someone's reporting people at my firm," he said one night over dinner, stabbing at his chicken. "2 people just got pulled into HR today. Ali thinks someone's watching us." I didn't say a word. I just kept chewing. The next day, I found out from a friend of a friend, who worked at the firm, that the junior partner Ali was dating had just filed a formal complaint about her behavior. Something about conflict of interest, misuse of internal software, and inappropriate communication during work hours. I smiled quietly to myself. One push, and it all crumbled. But the biggest twist came from Natalie. One afternoon, I got a call from a blocked number. I usually don't answer, but something told me to pick up. It was her. "I don't know who the hell you told," she said, voice shaking. "But Etsy shut me down, and now there's an actual investigation. I could lose my kid if this gets serious." I didn't say anything. "I know it was you," she snapped. "Ever since that miscarriage, you've been acting all cold." I hung up, but what she said hit me. I could lose my kid. That's when it sunk in. She still had one. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the back porch with a blanket and just stared at the dark. I hated her. I hated how she looked at me, talked about me, blamed me. But she still got to be a mom. She got to have her little girl run into her arms, sticky with juice and giggles. And I didn't. And instead of owning that luck, she used it to mock me. Something inside me turned to stone. The next Sunday dinner, I showed up like usual. Mark sat across from me like a ghost. Diane was quieter than usual. She must have received some kind of IRS contact by then. She looked pale, nervous. I watched her hands shake as she refilled her wine. Natalie wasn't there. "She's been going through a lot lately," Diane said quickly, avoiding my eyes. I nodded. "Oh, what happened?" "She's just dealing with a few things," Mark muttered. I acted surprised. After dinner, Diane walked me to the front door and tried to touch my arm. "I know we haven't always been close," she said, "but I just want peace. For the family." That's when I knew. She was scared. And I wasn't done. 2 weeks later, Mark didn't come home. No warning. No call. Just an empty side of the bed. I didn't panic. I already knew where he was. Ollie's apartment. What he didn't know was that I'd already seen it. I'd followed him once, 2 weeks earlier. Parked half a block away, watched him walk in with a grocery bag and a bouquet. Allie opened the door barefoot in leggings. They kissed like they were newlyweds. I remember gripping the steering wheel so hard my nails bent backwards. Now I just waited. The next morning, he walked through the front door like nothing happened. "I needed space," he said. "I slept at a friend's." I stared at him for a few seconds, then said, "You should probably start packing some of your things, just in case the IRS shows up here again." His whole body tensed. "What are you talking about?" I tossed him the unopened envelope. "Your mom's been using our address. I found 3 letters in the last month. You might want to ask her what she's doing." He opened it, turned pale. I watched the blood drain from his face. "What the hell is this?" "Why would she?" "You said she hides things," I reminded him. "Remember?" He sat down hard on the couch.
Jesus Christ.
He didn't even ask how I found it, or why I had it. That weekend, Natalie showed up at my front door. She looked like hell. Dark circles, messy hair, panic in her voice. She didn't even knock, just pounded the door until I opened it. "Child services came by," she said, eyes wide. "They said someone reported me for selling counterfeit items out of my home. Said it was linked to fraud." I kept my face calm. "I know it was you," she hissed. "You're trying to destroy this family." I didn't say yes or no. I just said, "You told me I wasn't meant to be a mom. You told people I lost the baby because of something I did. You don't get to play the victim now."
She was crying now.
Angry, terrified tears. "You're sick." "No," I said. I was grieving. Now I'm just done. That week, Mark's law firm launched an internal review. I don't know the full details, but word got around that Allie had been put on unpaid leave. Mark's name wasn't on the email I received anonymously, but I recognized the initials, MB, listed under involved parties. Then something unexpected happened. I got a voicemail from Diane. "I don't know what you think you're doing," she said, her voice shaking. "But if you think you can scare me, you're wrong. I survived worse men than you'll ever meet." That voicemail confirmed everything. Her fear, her guilt, and that she knew it was me. I saved it. I wasn't finished. Not yet. I wanted all of them to know what it felt like to lose something you thought was yours forever. I filed for divorce 3 days later.
Quietly.
No warning. The papers were served at Mark's office by a courier I paid in cash. No return address. No note. Just the legal truth in black and white. I was done pretending. He blew up my phone that night. Called 11 times. Left voicemails ranging from confused to furious to begging. I didn't answer a single one. When he finally showed up at the house, I was already gone. I'd packed what I needed, cleared out my personal bank account, and left a single envelope on the kitchen counter. Inside were copies of the screenshots from his texts with Allie, his internet history, and the voicemail his mother left me. I didn't include a note. I wanted him to connect the dots on his own. Meanwhile, Diane got hit with a full IRS audit. I'd made sure the anonymous report included the name of the LLC and copies of the tax form she manipulated. Because she used my address, the agency looped me in briefly. I sent them everything I had with a signed affidavit that she used my identity without consent. When Diane tried to call me, I answered once. "You think you're smart?" she snapped. "You think they'll believe a bitter woman over a mother of 3? "I think they'll believe the paperwork," I said. Then I hung up and blocked her number for good. Natalie's Etsy store never recovered. Once her merchant account was flagged, her payment processor cut her off. She posted long, angry Facebook rants about cancel culture and fake buyers trying to ruin her business. Eventually, she disappeared from social media altogether. But that wasn't the worst of it. A month after Child Services visited her, her ex, the father of her child, filed for full custody. He had been collecting screenshots of her sales and the investigation. Said he didn't want their daughter around someone who runs scams from her living room.
He won.
Natalie now sees her daughter every other weekend, supervised. Mark lost his job 6 weeks after I left. Allie confessed to everything to save herself, said he coerced her, said he was the one who gave her client access. HR bought it. He didn't even get to clean out his desk. He showed up at my new apartment once. He looked thinner, worn down, and angry. "You ruined my life," he said. I looked him straight in the eye.
No.
"You did that the moment you chose them over me." I closed the door in his face. "It's been 8 months now. I started therapy. I'm not healed, but I'm honest about the damage. The grief still lives in me, but so does the woman who rebuilt herself. I didn't get justice in the way people talk about in movies. No arrest, no viral videos. Just slow, methodical consequences. Diane lost her money. Natalie lost her business. Mark lost everything. And I got my life back. That's more than revenge. That's freedom."